You're listening to Biz-Souls, the business podcast with an edge, hosted by me, Rona Lewis, and Jeffrey Hansler. Tune in for perspectives and discoveries about the changing world of business. It's time to connect to the heart, soul, and humor of how business gets done. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Biz-Souls. I'm Rona Lewis.
I'm Jeffrey Hansler, and we get to the heart and soul of business and the people that make it happen.
You remembered. I am shocked and awed.
Well, we have a special guest here, and
So
he expects to be top line.
There you go. There you go. We have Dan. You pronounce it Shapiro?
Shapiro.
All right, because you never know.
There's a lot of
Shapiro,
Shapiros out there.
Shapiro,
Yeah.
Levine. So
Right.
we have one of the MOTs. Do you know what an MOT is?
No idea.
Member of the tribe. Here, half. Well, you're half.
Yeah,
All
I'll
right.
take it.
Anyway, I'm going to read your official. We have Dr. Dan Shapiro. He is part of the caring team as opposed to the uncaring team. They're all
There
caring.
is an uncaring team out there, I'm sure.
At the Bixby Knoll Veterinary Clinic in Long Beach, California. He is your trusted partner in pet care and committed to providing comprehensive veterinary services to ensure the health and well-being of your beloved pets. He already checked out Roscoe, so we're good there. Dan is a native Pennsylvanian. He went to Penn State too, go blue, who transplanted to California when he attended David Veterinary School. He fell in love with the state, the people, and their animals. Welcome, Dan.
Thank you very much. What a great introduction. I'm just going to say...
Well, I just read it. You gave it to
It was UC Davis Vet School. Everything else was perfect, though.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, so
What did you say?
David, I just wrote what you put down here.
Oh, I did.
Typo.
Typo.
Yeah,
Typo.
'cause
Sorry.
I'm pretty sure
Let's
you knew
blame
about Davis, so
Jeffrey.
that
Yeah, of
might be on
course.
Jeff.
Blame me. So I always
Thank you, UC Davis.
I could start off with the first question.
Yes.
The first question is always, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Yeah. So I was never really a kid with a plan. I kind of liked a bunch of different things. I thought I was going to be a cop. I thought I was going to be a science teacher for like 8th graders or something
Because
like
they're
that.
so similar.
They're yeah, I know. Like I had no plan at all. I kind of was just going with the flow. But I will say, I feel like I was like living the life of a veterinarian while I was doing all these things. As in, I was best friends with our dog at home. That's kind of a given. Most kids are.
Yeah.
But our cat would every now and then just bring us like a dying bird that it thought was a gift or whatever. Or I would just find one on our property or something like that. And I would always be the one to try to like fix them up. And, if it was like a dire case, I was also the only one in the family who was willing to put them out of their misery too. I know it sounds really psychopathic.
But it's
yeah, I was like, I
good.
could
I could
not
never do
stand
that.
them being out there and like knowing they were suffering. I could just put them in a bush and not think about it, but I like just couldn't do it. So I would always get my like grandpa's advice and see how I should do it just to make it like instant. So I don't know. I think I always had this in me, but I never really considered being a veterinarian. I didn't really think about what I was going to do at all. I didn't see being an adult as an actual thing until I got here. So.
Neither do we. So
Yeah.
we're even.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, when did you know?
Yeah, that's a great question. So in college, I went in for forensic science at Penn State.
Okay.
And I
So more dead stuff.
More dead stuff. Realized I didn't like it at all. It's not like it is in the TV shows. So I decided to switch over into a subject called biotechnology, and I literally picked that because it sounded cool and it sounded smart. I had no other rationale. I looked through a list of majors and I was like, that one sounds good. And I decided I was going to be a medical doctor. My dad's a doctor, so I just figured it would make sense and it would be something I could do.
What kind of doctor is Dad?
He's an ear, nose, and throat doctor. He's a pediatric ENT. Yeah. And he loves what he does. He tried to retire a year ago and he is already back in it. So yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. He can't settle down. He just needs to keep going. So I figured I would do that. And then I started studying for the MCAT one summer and I was so over it, like instantly over it. And I realized I needed to do something that kind of fueled me as I was going. So I told my parents I was going to switch into animal science. Just because it had animals in the name. I don't know really what you do with animal science, but I was like, at least there will be animals. They were not thrilled about that. And then it was my brother, I got to give him credit for this, who was like, why don't you just split the difference and be a veterinarian? And I'm in my junior year of college at that point, and I honestly had just never thought about it. I'd always heard rumors that vet school was very difficult to get into and everything, so... But then I was like, yeah, sure, and I went all in on that. I've been working in the veterinary field I started working in the veterinary field that summer, and then I applied the next year. Actually, though, I hadn't gotten all my classes scheduled correctly, so I needed to be in school another semester. So I applied a year later then instead, and somehow got into Davis.
That's fantastic.
nice.
Yeah, I got.
It is so hard to get into vet school.
It's
And
really difficult. Yeah.
it's more difficult. I've heard it's more difficult than med school. So,
Yeah.
and I think that's still the case.
Well, it's just sort of a percentages thing because there's so few vet schools.
Right.
I think when I was applying, there was like maybe 32, 33 in the country. Now they're starting to build a ton of them because I don't know if COVID did it, but there is a huge demand for vets these days.
Well, yeah, because everybody took animals to keep them,
Right.
them
100%
company,
keep them
which
company.
is which is great.
Yeah, it is great. Yeah, and it probably cleared out the shelters pretty well, but now, there's a huge demand for pets.
I
too,
know. I
which-
don't know if you. I on my Facebook page, like every day, I'm sharing, rescue this dog, rescue this
that's
dog,
awesome.
and I wish
Yeah.
I could have more.
Right.
I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in a 1-bedroom, and I have him.
Yeah, it's plenty of pet having a big dog in an apartment. So,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
So
right,
well,
right.
you worked for a vet for a while.
Yeah, well, I thought about being a veterinarian. I went to UCI, and it was great. The counselor there said, "What are you here for? Everybody here's a doctor. Why would you want to be a vet?" Anyway, I didn't get a lot of support, and I worked for a couple of vet hospitals, and I just didn't, it just didn't work for me.
Yeah.
So I
What
decided to
capacity
switch
were
over
you
to.
working sort of like a tech kind of thing?
No, absolutely not. I was,
Yeah.
the guy cleaning the cages.
Oh, a kennel worker.
yeah. It was just.
We all start there,
Yeah.
Honestly, there's something very satisfying about being a kennel worker. A dog leaves, you clean up the cage, your job is done. You
Yeah.
don't have to think about, how is the results of what I've prescribed this dog going. You just
Right.
clean the cage and move on. I miss that.
So what's your favorite thing about being a vet?
That's a great question. So when I was little and I was treating those animals, I had absolutely no resources at my disposal, and it was just me. So, I would put them in a shoebox with some water and some food and put them up somewhere for the night, go to sleep, come back the next morning, and
See if they were
usually
better.
see if they were better, and they usually were dead. So
Oh, good.
it's brutal. Yeah.
So I can see yours. Yeah, that would be my lead to go to vet school.
Exactly, because for example, my second Saturday working, and I just started my job about a month and a half ago now, but my second Saturday, somebody, a tech who works at another restaurant, found a kitten outside that restaurant, brought it in, no heads up, this kitten's just here all of a sudden. So I have a whole team that can help me. I tell them what to do, but they can help me get this kitten back into working order.
Wow.
We can test
That's
its blood
great.
sugar, its temperature. We can, get all the fleas off of it with a simple pill down its
Right.
throat or up its butt. Unfortunately, that's what we had to do with this cat. But basically, we turned this kitten around over the course of a day because I have every resource I could ever need
That's
to
awesome.
do that. So it just feels like that kid who was doing all that would be really excited about the position I'm in now.
Yeah.
So I just feel like I'm feeding the inner child.
That's
really.
great.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm a
That's
lucky
great.
And
guy.
it's important, for those of us who don't have kids. This is my fur baby.
Yeah,
As
100%.
Jeffrey knows, I'm an erotic Jewish mother.
Yeah.
And
Poor Roscoe.
I know.
No, he's
He
a lucky guy.
gets so much better when Rona goes away and I take care of the dog.
Yeah, it's like, take care of the dog, and he's like, yeah, he's downstairs, he's running around. I'm like,
Yeah.
but
Is that right?
Yeah.
But I'm his mom. He's never not by my side
Yeah.
and stuff. Does he play it up? He'll give me the paw. Can I have some of your food? Stuff like that. But
He'll be limping with her like, oh, my
Oh.
leg is right, and then she leaves, and then he's like running around like,
That's
oh my
not true.
gosh,
They
that's
do
great.
play us. They play us
Yeah.
big time. So I don't know.
it's the eyebrows.
Yeah. And he's got him better than anyone. His face is
He's-
literally
I
like
know.
a teddy bear.
I know, he's very cute. Anyway, so
So-
go ahead. You can ask.
Okay, how'd you pick SoCal? I mean,
Yeah.
great
Well,
state. I mean, why didn't you want to go to back to Pennsylvania?
Right. I mean, I more than the state itself, I fell in love with the people I met in vet school. I had the greatest group of friends in the world. Like, we were in this group chat from year one till, still, obviously, and we still talk about vet stuff. It's called Get Out Me Swamp. I have no idea why. I forget at this point, but half of them are moving down here. Half of them are across the country doing like internships and stuff like that. And I just figured I'd go with, the largest concentration of them. So
Sure.
I have a bunch of them down in San Diego and a bunch of them up in LA, and I'm sort of in the middle here.
Okay.
You
You
are.
know, so it's a perfect setup. And you just can't beat it here. Like, I don't know how anybody lives anywhere else than Southern California. It's perfect weather. Every single day it's sunny, and the beach is right there. So I don't know what people are doing.
How
in the rest
far
of
is
the
it?
country.
Wait.
You're in Cerritos, right?
Cerritos,
So
yeah.
that's where I got my car.
Yeah,
The Lexus.
Oh, that's a big
Le-
site.
Lexus of
Right.
Cerritos.
Nice.
right. And his vet, where he is, Bixby, it's kind of his little thing. It's near Cal State Long Beach, and it's this little enclave
Yeah.
And it's kind of a hidden little gem there.
Nice.
And we played golf at Bixby.
Bixby Knolls.
Yeah, Bixby.
Yeah.
We play
Yeah.
golf there, so it's
I
right
drive
behind
by
there.
that every single
Yeah.
day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Nice.
And don't tell people California's great. You know,
I
we
know,
have enough
honestly.
people coming
Yeah,
in.
censor that
It's
part out if
awful.
we can.
It's
Yeah.
awful. The taxes are horrible.
There's homeless
I mean,
people. You don't wanna
earthquake,
go. Yeah, we
earthquakes.
just had a
I
couple
fell
of
into an
earthquakes.
earthquake
Exactly.
last week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that started in Pasadena. You don't want to come here.
Yes, it's actually really bad. I'm just being optimistic here.
Yeah, thank you for
Stinks.
that. Yeah. Anyway, so what's your plan, Stan?
Yeah.
Or what's your plan, Dan?
Yeah, I mean-
so do you want to own your own place? Do you want to just find a place to end up and live a good life and help dogs and hopefully
Yeah.
none of them ever die?
Yeah,
So
the latter. Yeah, let's go with the latter. I mean, I don't know if I've made it clear from saying how I ended up in this line of work, but I'm not a big planner. I just kind of end up places, and I think I can fill a defined role really well, but I don't know if I'm the guy to go out there and be like, these are the changes we need to make in a new practice. I am like so happy where I am.
That's
And
great.
granted, I've been there a month and a
Right.
half, but I've been in the veterinary industry for probably 8 years now, so you know a culture pretty quickly when you enter a practice. I'm sure you did as well. These places can get really toxic really quickly, or places can have just the right balance of
Right.
people that kind of balance each other out. And I feel so fortunate to be at a place where I can just see how much everybody likes each other.
Right.
Yeah.
That's huge for me, and also our clientele is just so willing to trust us. I think there's a good reputation.
That's
at
huge.
this it's huge, yeah.
That's huge.
People that are willing to do things for their pets. Obviously, there's always exceptions to everything,
Right.
but I feel really lucky where I am right now.
Yeah.
I'm doing exactly what I want to do out of this job. I don't feel overwhelmed, even though I'm a new grad. I'm very grateful.
That's
yeah.
great.
So for now, no plan. I'm just gonna keep working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have a friend of mine who was a vet. She was actually Roscoe's vet for a while, but now she's up in Pasadena, so it's a little
Okay,
hard.
yeah.
And she always said, be careful of the vets that you go to, because now it's such a business.
Yeah.
And I left one in West LA, which I don't want to get sued. I won't name it, but he had to, he had to be put under to get his teeth cleaned, and then he needs a chest X-ray, and he needs this, and he needs that, and
Just to be put under.
right. And
Yeah.
so, and my friend Tracy is like, he doesn't need that. They just, this is how they pay their bills.
Cha-ching.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Just
I
sort of
was like,
skimming
okay.
a little extra off the top. It
Right.
sounds like,
And I was like,
doing all
okay,
that.
and I'm not, it takes a lot for me to trust people. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I'm a New Yorker. And, you got to prove yourself first. And I'm like, okay, bye. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
I can, so if that's a great endorsement.
Well,
for-
I think
for
what
your-
you're saying, I think
your work.
people just have a much better BS meter than other people give them credit for.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like, you can explain things in a certain way to just try to go over people's heads and be like, oh, he needs this chest x-ray. And I think people figure it out pretty quickly when they're being taken for a ride.
That's just it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't really sound right.
Yeah.
Well,
you know?
the trouble is it's emotional. So
It is.
people
Yeah. That's a
great
people
point.
feel like, oh my God, I'd do anything for my dog or my cat, and they will. I mean, they'll fork out tens of thousands of dollars
Yeah.
in many
Jeff,
cases.
I think that is like the most important thing to bring up about this whole profession is it deals on people's emotions, and it can at times prey on people's emotions. And it's just something that you 100% need to take into account. You need to go into every exam room and you need to sort of, I don't know, assess the emotional layout of that room. Sometimes you go into a euthanasia and people are in a good mood and they want to joke around because it's something that they can't deal with. Sometimes you don't want to say a word when you're in there. It really
Right.
just, it's all about the people, and you don't want to exploit their emotions. That's for sure. I think the best way to get repeat clientele is showing that you are there with them in that moment.
Right.
You're working with them, what they need for their specific pet.
Empathy.
Yeah. And some people want to do everything. Some people are really worried. So make your money on those clients who want to do everything, but work with people, work in their financial bounds, and assess the emotional situation. I
Yeah.
would say.
Because, some of these operations are like $6,000 to $10,000.
100%. Yeah.
I'm like, really?
Yeah, and that sort of thing, there's been a ton of inflation, I feel like, in the veterinary
Yeah.
world lately. So it is pretty universal that people are not happy about the price of veterinary medicine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I can really do about that as someone who's just coming into practice,
Sure.
besides making sure that I am, offering them everything that they could possibly need, but telling them what the most important thing that they should pay for
Right.
is,
Right.
that
Right.
kind of thing.
Yeah, and I have since, well, my friend Tracy is his vet, and she's like, at this age, like his lipomas, the
Yeah.
fat pads and things that, he's like, just she's like, people get them taken off. Doesn't bother him. Don't bother.
Absolutely.
And, at his age, you don't want to really put him out a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
So
For something that doesn't actually matter aside from aesthetics. If it's in their joints or something like that, it's worth considering if it's interfering with their ability to move around, or if it's growing at some astronomical rate and you're worried at some point down the road it would be more dangerous to put them under than do it now. But other than that, those lipomas can be left alone. We can always aspirate it and make sure that's all it is. Basically stick a needle in it, look at the
That's
cells,
what
make
I
sure
had,
they're
yeah.
not perfect. That's all
what
you
I
got to
had
do.
done,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, perfect.
So, and so I was at a kind of a crossroads when I was going to school in the veterinary. So a lot of people were getting into veterinary medicine. I don't know if it was All Things Great and Small or...
Oh, yeah, James Harriet.
Yes,
Yeah.
that book was out, and all of a sudden everybody wanted to become a vet. And then I remember being at a farm. It was a horse ranch out in Sharon. And I went in early in the morning because the vet was going to be there. And when I went in, he was checking a mare for pregnancy. And the horse had clamped down on him. And he's just sitting here beating on the back of the horse going, just give me my arm back. And I thought, well, I don't want to be a large animal vet.
Yeah.
So anyway.
That's actually exactly my experience with deciding not to be a large animal vet too. So yeah, I'm with you.
So it, from a business standpoint though, you're so focused on the medicine part of it at Davis. Did you have any business courses for?
That's a great question.
No, that is a really good question. And I know a lot of places didn't have that. We had this wonderful guy, shout out to Jim Clark, who took us through who took us through, I think, from first year to fourth year, teaching us different components of the business aspect of this, and like practice ownership, how to negotiate a contract, which I would never have even thought to do. I didn't realize I had any leverage in that respect. I'm not a good negotiator, so it didn't really make a difference in the end. But yeah, we did learn a lot about that. We learned, I don't know, it is more complicated, the business, than what I learned basically was I didn't want to be involved in that aspect of veterinary medicine. We were taught it. I'm sure some people retained it a lot better than I did. Yeah.
So have you noticed, are they like medical doctors get together and they form a practice? And so you've got 4 or 5 or 8 doctors and they form a practice, and then they hire, as a group, they hire a business manager.
Yes.
Now, have you seen that happening in the veterinary business yet or not yet?
I haven't seen it happening personally. I know it does happen though. Yeah, absolutely.
So who runs the operations, things like that?
Where you are at Bixby.
At your vet?
Oh, at Bixby. So I work for a guy, Dr. Abrish. I don't know how to pronounce it, but everyone calls him
You're
Dr.
just
A.
Dr. A.
Dr. A.
Yeah, maybe
Okay.
Abrishami. He's just the least lazy guy I've ever met in my entire life, and so
Good for you, Doc.
Yeah, I think he started this practice and was working 7 days a week on his own, slowly started hiring people on, and he's still kept it private, and I think he intends to do that forever.
Good.
He's been opening more practices around the area though, so he's like his own little corporation.
Come to Redondo Beach.
Yeah, hey, why not? It seems like a good area to me.
It is.
But yeah, so he's been doing it, but it takes a lot of perseverance, I think, to get to the point that you can manage 4 hospitals as opposed to one is a lot.
So
honestly.
is he doing mostly admin work, or is he with the animals too?
At this point, he's doing mostly admin work. I know that because this new clinic's opening, he's about to go back to working 7 days a week to build that one up too.
Don't do that. You need to life balance.
He can't.
Stop! You're killing me, and I don't even know you.
And so what he'll do is, with us new grads, every now and then, if we have a new surgery that we didn't do in vet school, he'll come in and assist with it. He's like a pro at surgery.
Nice.
Yeah, his son was working yesterday and was doing this abdominal exploratory because we suspected these foreign bodies had been ingested by this dog. So basically some things that were not going to pass through the digestive tract.
Like a little car.
Lego.
Exactly, something like that. And so his son comes into the clinic I'm working at, is doing the surgery, he's there assisting, and then he buys us all pizza afterwards. I'm like,
oh, wow.
Yeah, he's just a good guy.
Thanks,
yeah.
Dad.
Yeah, honestly, he's the best.
So is that how he creates a good culture? He's just kind of hands-on, he's there, and he treats everybody.
That's the way to do it.
Well, the nice thing about him is he's hands-on with that stuff, but he stays out of the medicine because it's changed so much since he went to vet school. And that's a really important thing. You don't want to be holding back all these recent grads who actually know that, you need the wisdom of the people who have been in practice for a while, but you need to not interfere with, when we say that metronide is a really common antibiotic that everybody gets for diarrhea, is actually not the answer to diarrhea anymore. Most diarrhea is like related to diet, and people take this metronidazole, they give it to their dogs, and in 3 days the diarrhea is gone, but it was going to be gone anyway. But what you've done now is destroy the microbiome of that dog. So we tend to see some like chronic diseases arise down the road because of this antibiotic that, you know, back in the day was given out like candy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you hear that, pet people? Do not give your dog that stuff.
Exactly.
Right.
And what I'll do is I'll tell people, if this diarrhea doesn't resolve in the next 3 days, I'll have this metronidazole on hand. I'll already dose it out. You can come pick it up whenever. Usually these people just don't call back. So
Can you give your dog probiotics?
absolutely. Yeah. Highly recommend it. That's way
Yogurt.
better for
He loves yogurt.
yogurt's a great snack for your dog, but there are some veterinary brands of probiotics that are like specifically designed for their GI tracts that I would really recommend as well.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So what's a typical day like for you when you're on? Is it do they have the surgeries all scheduled? Are they doing the surgeries in the morning? Are they doing the surgeries at night? Is it, by the way, are you a 24/7 hospital?
No. And I love that about this clinic is I get to go home and not have to really worry about hospitalized patient or anything like that. I would say my typical day, there is no such thing. That being said, there's a general structure to it. Most days I'll come in and there's already some sort of drop-off appointment for me, something that was scheduled, some like long 8-hour blood test that we have to do, or, you know, an ear hematoma. Have you ever seen one of those where a dog has like a pillow-sized ear because it's filled with blood? And that's
like a boxer.
Exactly.
A
No, that's
cauliflower
exactly
ear.
what it is.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
and they usually heal like that if you do the old method of where you surgically fix it. There's new methods now. So that's another thing that Dr. A didn't interfere with for me, was using the new methods and letting that heal normally. Anyway, then I have a full day of appointments. We also take urgent cares though, so things can just sort of come in on top of it and everybody sort of carries that load.
Right.
So, and then I have one surgery day a week. That just started for me this week, where I have my own scheduled surgery day. I didn't sign up a single surgery though over the course of the week, so I didn't get to do anything, unfortunately. But because I love surgery, I hope down the road I'm gonna start signing those up. Yeah.
If they need it.
So
Only
if
if they
you-
need it.
if your dog-
Unnecessary
Spays and neuters.
surgery.
So if your animal needs surgery, now do you focus on dogs, cats? Can you do birds? Can you do
Legally, I can. I won't be doing birds. I'm just gonna do dogs and cats. But legally, I could do neurosurgery on a horse
Ferrets
tomorrow.
and
Really?
pigs
Yeah,
and stuff.
veterinarians. There are residencies and things, and I don't recommend any GP surgeon just go out and do neurosurgery or even most orthopedic surgeries. But I believe legally you can really just do all
anything.
of those things.
Right.
Yeah, which is interesting.
So if you have a dog or cat and it needs a surgery, we got Dr. Dan here.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend anything crazy though. For now, I'm very happy with spays and neuter, the occasional, splenectomy, that kind of thing.
What do you think? This is kind of an off-the-wall question, but
Yeah,
it's me.
I love
so,
that.
Yeah. So, so many dog owners are dyeing their dog's hair.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't help but think, because I'm a believer in like healthier, hair stuff.
It's hair.
Is it? Yeah, but it goes in the skin if it's bad.
I have to say, I'm kind of with Jeffrey. I think it's just hair. I mean, it is going in the skin. You're
Yeah,
absolutely right.
but so
I
I'm because I was just curious. It doesn't. It's not bad for the.
I haven't
dog,
seen
or?
dermatologic issues specifically associated with hair dye
Okay.
yet. I don't have a lot of clientele that bring in those dogs though.
I've seen some like
And-
on TikTok and something
Yeah.
like they look like zebras and leopards and
It's always pretty
and Winnie the
jarring.
Pooh thing. It's like,
Oh, so you see like full coats.
Oh my
of
God,
it.
yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
Oh,
I've
it's
seen like
crazy.
mohawks down these dogs.
Yeah, that. But it's the ones that it's like it's
I like-
Halloween all year long. They're in
Yeah.
a costume.
I like
know
the
what's up with
zebra.
that.
I like the zebra look on a dog.
Well,
a
I like
poodle.
I don't
zebra.
hate the
So-
cheetah idea either.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I also love those people that get their dogs like those lion cuts or whatever that is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know that I've seen any like specific derm issues associated with
Okay,
that.
I was
to
just
answer your
curious,
question.
just because
there probably are going
it's-
to be them
it's-
though.
It's very popular
Yes, it is.
with
absolutely.
the bougie crowd.
Yeah, you got to think those are the same types of people that are also hyper aware of anything going on with their dog's skin. Probably get
That's
them
true.
groomed every 5 seconds. So those are probably good
They
owners.
lick the cat themselves.
Yeah,
the whole
exactly.
thing.
No, they
Just
might.
to
Who
make
knows?
sure.
You never know
Oh,
what these
Jeffrey,
owners
you
are
have
doing.
2 cats. Tell me.
Yes, I have 2 cats, of which one of them is one of the cats that's the absolute killer.
Oh, is
Brings
that
home
right?
bring home
bird
bird,
or
bring home a
mice.
crow.
Even around here, he's able to find.
Oh,
That's
absolutely.
That's crazy.
The only thing he hasn't brought home is a horse. So
All right, that's
And
good.
that's what he wants.
That's the
You
best
see
cause
him,
right
like,
there.
pulling on him.
I haven't seen these cats. Do they just disappear when Roscoe's around? Or?
no,
they like Roscoe.
They like Roscoe.
They're
So
they're
they-
they're indoor.
they're
outdoor.
indoor outdoor.
I like that.
Yeah.
Good. Are they
Yeah,
rats?
can't you see the leather has got their marks all over it?
I do see that now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everything,
okay.
everything. And they really don't go far. They'll go like 2 or 3 houses down that way.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they go across the street.
No, because every time they go to go across the street, I scream at them, and it
Oh,
startles
is that right?
them. It startles them, and then they head back to home.
Yeah.
So
Are they both males or?
both males. They're both strays. They're both total strays. It took me 3 months to catch Indy, the first one.
Wow.
And when I first saw him, he was so small. I thought he was like a mouse or a rat.
Yeah.
And then Willie, yeah.
Okay, gotcha,
And
nice.
it was during the pandemic. Otherwise, I never would have seen him enough. And then Willie, we had a stray feral female, and she kept getting pregnant. So they had litters and litters and litters. I think they've since caught her and moved her.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of little kittens around.
She was
She
was a slut.
Oh, is that?
is total slut.
Slut.
Like my grandmother. And I loved my grandmother. Yeah, we thought we lost Willie because he's
Yeah.
he's total curious. He's everything you think about a cat.
Yeah.
And so I was calling him, and we came up in the office, and all of a sudden I hear this meow. He'd followed me up into the attic, and then dodged me, and then so he got
stuck
locked
up
up in the attic.
Overnight. Yeah, because I came and he sent me. I'm driving down and I get, we can't find Willie, and I'm like, oh crap.
And that's
You know-
a gut punch for you too.
Well, yeah, because I'm down here all the time, and
I love that.
And
Yeah.
even though there are coyotes all over the place now.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm pretty intuitive.
See, don't move
enough-
to California.
Yeah,
no, you
the
don't wanna
coyote,
do that, right?
lions and bears
Yeah.
too.
Oh.
Oh my! So we're in here doing something, and there's a lull in the conversation. And all of a sudden, I hear
Hang on.
meow. I'm like, wait, I just
What
heard
the
it.
heck happened?
And what happened?
His camera shut off.
Oh, pause for commercial break. Is that the new one?
That's a new one. I gotta send it in. I'll send it when I get back.
Dude, like Mercury's retrograde.
It
so
must be what's going
stuff
on
going.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I just heard
It might
this
be the
morning the guy said
planets.
Mercury retrograde is over today.
No, it's over on the 28th.
I bet it's over right now after that camera shut
That's
off.
right. No, it's over on the 28th. I'm really into that stuff.
Astrology?
Yeah, and I'm a
You're
Reiki.
in November,
I'm
but you're not a
Reiki.
Scorpio, right?
No,
I'm a Scorpio.
I'm a
November-
Sagittarius.
Oh,
When's your-
nice.
When's yours?
November 3rd. So
Yeah,
very
so you're
similar
at the
to
beginning.
Roscoe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you know what Reiki is?
No.
It's a 4,000-year-old method of energy healing.
Oh.
So yeah, they use it in a lot of hospitals now to help with
Is that
nausea and
right?
stuff. Yeah.
How does that work?
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll finish this.
Yeah.
So we always end with tips. So a couple of tips. First of all, tips for
Anyone who wants
getting
to be,
through medical school.
Yeah.
So what are some tips what are some things you learned? If you had to do it go, being you and looking back, what would
Yeah.
you say to somebody to help them get through successfully?
Yeah. So I don't think I would go back and do anything differently. I think the most important aspect to veterinary school or medical school is having a balance. I had the best friends in the world, so I feel like that kind of kept my mental health intact to the point that if I get like a B, I'm not really concerned about it. I'm just like, that's fine. You know what? I'm still happy. I'm still in veterinary school. I think not overthinking the grades, because then you start getting into the minutia of details, which you are never going to need in practice. You need to take away the big picture concepts and sort of understand what's going on, as opposed to all these little details, this bulk memorization. Understanding the why gets you so much further, not only in the test, but in life. So I don't know. I think understanding the underlying reasons for things is crucial. And don't worry about the details. They'll come.
Okay.
What else?
And then tips for starting in practice and
Yeah.
putting your license to
Yeah.
use.
I mean, I'm so new. I feel like I've had a good launch though, and I feel like that's because I'm taking things one step at a time and not really letting the magnitude of, this culmination of all this hard work really get to me. Everyone who went to veterinary school has been working towards this for a really long time. Mm-hmm. Now, me less so, because I didn't know what I was going to do, but it feels insane when all of a sudden it is your first day at this job. And they throw you in pretty quickly too. I mean, I have an amazing mentorship program that's going on too, but at the end of the day, you are the veterinarian. People are going to listen to you for what you should do for your pets. So I think it's just making sure you are 100% focused on each individual appointment. You're not missing anything. You're checking in with coworkers, but also just trusting yourself, because you have 4 years of this really advanced education, and obviously something good has come out of that, because you made it. So
is it different? How many years do you have to go for vet school?
Oh, so for vet school, it's 4 years. Yeah.
Okay, and then medical school is 8, right?
Medical
All
school
in?
is 4 years too, but then they have their residencies.
Right.
We have residencies too. You just don't need to do a residency if you're just going to go into like general practice
Got it.
or
Okay.
even ER.
I just didn't know how it worked.
Yeah.
Now, has that changed? Was that different? Did that change from before?
I believe that residencies have become a lot more common. People used to just go out and sort of have more free reign. I think the lawyers have affected things a little bit. You know, you want to have the people that know what they're doing those jobs. But I think it's, for veterinary medicine, it's sort of the last frontier of just having all this freedom of the way you want to practice. So it hasn't changed that much, I would say.
And like medical students, you're going to be working for the next 20 years to pay off your student loans?
Yeah, exactly. That is how it goes. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why there's a high burnout rate, especially with new graduate veterinarians, is because we're not making really as much as the doctors were, and you have just as much debt. So it's a huge concern. Burnout in general is a huge concern in the industry.
Yeah. So you're living in a closet in Cerritos?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, I would take any space. My whole life, I just wanted to have like my independence and my own space. And I have a dog, and it's just like, I feel like this phase of my life is everything I've ever wanted out of life, and I feel just really lucky.
Do you get to bring your dog into work?
I could. The energy in there for a dog is not ideal. Every dog that comes through is giving off like nervous energy, and she is big on picking up on that.
What kind of dog do you have?
She's a big nervous German Shepherd, really amazing dog, like not a mean bone in her body, but she is like, I don't know, socially anxious for sure.
Gee, I don't know what that's like.
Yeah, really.
That's my dog, yeah.
So one question about the finances.
Yeah.
So UC Davis is state school.
Yes.
So was it a little better than going to a private school like Cornell or something?
It was infinitely better.
Okay.
I think Davis is up there with some of the cheapest veterinary schools in the world. And it's also like up there with the best veterinary schools in the world. And it's just, I could not be more grateful for UC Davis. Like the fact that I am not in an insane amount of debt right now is because of that program.
Right.
And
That's great.
They just prepare you so well. And I think the debt to income ratio is better at Davis than like anywhere else too. So yeah, could be worse.
Impressive.
Could be a lot worse.
All right, now next year they're going to be nuts, kind of go through all their applications just because of what you said.
I hope so. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Anything else?
No.
Can I give one tip to pet owners?
Please do. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say the best thing you can do for your pet, aside from getting, like veterinary insurance, especially if you have like a Frenchie or something like that, is just keeping your dogs lean. And really that can be as simple as an eyeball test. Have other people, be willing to take that feedback that, my dog is overweight. Let me cut down on the food a little bit. It's not about exercise. I mean, get your dogs on walks, obviously, but caloric intake is everything, and keeping your pet lean is going to protect their joints long term, their hearts long term. It decreases their predisposition to diabetes. So that's the biggest tip I could give.
That is good. I was always told, and tell me this is right, or at least the one vet told me, that if I can feel his ribs, I'm okay.
100%. You want to be able to feel them like sort of right underneath the skin.
Right.
Once you start feeling those layers between you and your dog's ribs, that's when you need to start cutting down on that.
Well, it's the same thing with humans.
100%.
You don't wanna,
Yeah.
You want to be able
and
to
that's
feel
the thing. It's like awkward telling maybe an overweight client that all the reasons why they should keep their dog or cat skinny, because it's, I don't know. I don't think about it.
Dog owners tend to look like their dogs.
Yeah, exactly. And they get the same diseases as their dogs too. It's the most bizarre thing in the world.
You see, that's why he's neurotic.
Yeah, exactly.
Might be it.
Exactly. All right.
Great stuff.
Yeah,
so
awesome.
how can people get in touch with you or with the clinic?
Yeah. So Bixby Animal Clinic. My name's, Dan, but you can call me Dr. Shapiro, I guess, there. Yeah, I'd be happy to take on any new client, anyone who wants to come through. So
Nice. Do they have a website you want to share?
I could look it up real quick. Is that all right?
Yeah, it's Bixby
I think
Animal
just
Hospital.
Google Bixby Animal Clinic.
Bixby Animal Clinic in
in Long Beach and Bixby
Long
Knolls.
Beach.
Yep.
Bixby Knolls. All right, there you go.
And you're focused on all the things you should be, which is the medicine part of it, not the business side of it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't want any extra money from you right now. All right? I just want your
Tips
pets to
are
be healthy.
appreciated, but
I'll
not
take,
necessary.
I don't even know if I can take them, but I'll take
I
your
don't- yeah,
donut,
well, there you
food, or
go.
whatever you want to give. Yeah.
We'll work for food.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, that is it for us. Thank you, Dr. Dan.
Thank you, guys. I
It
really
was
appreciate
super
it.
fun. Super fun.
Yeah.
I'm Rona Lewis,
I'm Jeffrey Hansler.
and this has been Biz-Souls. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the Biz-Souls podcast with your hosts, Rona Lewis and Jeffrey Hansler. Did you have fun? Subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It's very much appreciated. Talk to you next week.